Hello and welcome to Liberty Basic Unit 2. This is Lesson 2. This is GUI interfacing. And GUI, if you want to check here, if you know what GUI means, or GUI, GUI stands for a Graphical User Interface, which is a fancy word for Windows. This probably means different things to different people, but to most it means a way of controlling a computer that involves manipulating windows, which are of course rectangular areas displayed on a computer screen, using a mouse or some other pointing device, whether it be a stylus or even a touch screen with your finger. And of course, Windows with a capital W is what runs on the vast majority of computers in the world, but Macintosh's operating system is considered a GUI as well as other operating systems, iOS on the Apple devices, Linux, or any of the other operating devices that the computers can operate are considered GUIs. So when we say Windows, I'm not speaking of Microsoft's proprietary Windows. I'm speaking of the actual boxes on the screen. Okay, so again, if you're using Microsoft Windows, then you're using a software system with a GUI. Windows isn't just a graphical user interface, but it does include one because Windows does all of the background stuff as well. The first GUI was actually developed by Xerox, the photocopy company, in 1973, and unfortunately, they didn't see much use for it. And a very young Steve Jobs was introduced to it, saw the future, and made it a big part of the Apple Macintosh, which was first introduced in 1984. If you want to Google up the Super Bowl ad, it's quite an interesting ad where they cut down Microsoft Windows. So the Macintosh, Steve Jobs sort of stole it from Xerox, and then Windows decided, hey, that was a pretty good idea. Windows version 1 was actually a separate application in 1981. They were working on something similar, but it wasn't actually an operating system. And then in 1990, Windows version 3, actually 3.1 was the very popular one, was released. And when I first started teaching, that was what every computer ran. And it will actually seem very primitive to most people these days. All right, so what are we going to learn? We're going to learn how to use Liberty Basic to open Windows in the Windows GUI. So we're going to tap into Microsoft's Windows program and be able to create some windows. We're going to learn how to set the size, position, and type of our windows. We're going to learn how to add buttons and other controls to our windows. Controls are what Liberty Basic calls the different things that are in the window, whether it be a button or a text box or even a label, that type of thing. We're going to learn how to program the buttons and other controls to do what we want. Okay, so your first window, I'd like you to type in the following short program. Insert your name in the place where it says Bennett and then run it. So this is just a comment here, open a window. You're going to type open your name, first window, or window as, and this is hash window 1. Now stop and wait. Again, that's a comment, but you need the command wait, and then you need an end. So take a minute or so, press pause, and go ahead and type that in and see what happens. Okay, you should have typed that in by now. You should have got a window appearing with your name in the title, and maybe I should actually type it in and show you what I get. Okay, so when I type mine in and I run it, I get a syntax error. And why do I get a syntax error? Let's just see here. Oh yes, my quotations are a little bit off here. Wrong kind of quotation marks, that's all. See if that'll run. There we go. So I get a window, it says Bennett's first window, but you notice there's absolutely nothing in it because I didn't put anything in it. Not much good. Okay, so I got a window with my name in it. The main window is the regular window that opens when you run a Liberty Basic program, and you'll have to close it using that for the time period. Right now, I'm going to show you how to close these windows eventually. So Liberty Basic uses file statements like open, close, and print to manage and control all windows. Obviously, open opens the window, close will close it, and we actually use print to send it commands. So printing isn't just printing data, printing labels, printing text, printing numbers. We send commands using the print statement as well, and more on that in the very near future. There's nothing to prevent Liberty Basic program from opening more than one window. All you need is multiple open statements, and each window must have a unique handle. And handle is a word that you're going to have to know. The window in the example above has the handle hash window 1. It's sort of like its name, its label. Handle is the word that we use to describe it. It's a way of identifying which window we're talking about. And you can use any handle that you want. And I strongly encourage you to use handles that make sense. Please do not use window 1, window 2, window 3. Use handle names that make sense, such as game window, input window, game area, those type of things. Okay, you can adjust the size of the window as well. This is done by changing the value of two special variables, window width and window height, before opening the window. And we can also determine the opening position of the window by adjusting two other special variables, upper left X and upper left Y. And this tells us where it is in relation to the upper left-hand corner of your screen. 0, 0 is the upper left corner of the display. So the first one is the upper left X, how far over to the right. And upper left Y is how far down from the top left-hand corner. So looking at this example here, you'll see that I've opened a window. It's going to have a width of 300, a height of 100. It's going to start 200 pixels over from the left and 150 pixels down. So you can go ahead and type that in and see what you get. All you really need to do is just add these four statements here. Go ahead and pause right now and then type those in as I've done here, and then let's see what you get. Okay, you should have typed in those statements. Let's just see what we get. And you'll notice that my window is now smaller and in a slightly different spot on the screen, exactly how I wanted it. Let's close those out. This is the main window that I was referring to before. It has nothing in it because we haven't printed anything. That allows us to actually close the program. Okay, let's talk about buttons now. Buttons are pretty important. So we'll add a button to our window. We have to set up the dimensions of the window first, and then we're going to add this statement right here, the button one, this one right here, and you're going to have to add all this stuff down here as well. So go ahead, pause, take a few minutes to add in those statements. All right, welcome back. You should have got those typed in. I just copied and pasted. I'm a little luckier, I suppose. I'd like to point out that the button statement is placed before the open statement. This must be inserted before the open statement, okay? And I'm just going to run it and show you what happens here first. Here's the button statement, and it must occur before you open. All of these setup things, the dimensions, the buttons, everything that sets up the window must occur before you open it. Once you open it, you can't add a button. And you'll notice that I've got a button on there now. And if I click OK, it's going to actually do something. I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, so the button statement itself says button hash window 1.OK, quotations OK, and then OK clicked in square brackets UL 1515. So the first item in the button statement is a handle for the button. In this case, our handle is hash window 1.OK. We're adding this button to a window that will have a handle of window 1, and we simply add .OK to extend the handle so that the button will have its own handle different from the handle of the window. It must be unique, but the first part, the window 1 portion, this first part must be the same as the window that you're placing it in. Otherwise, it won't put it in the same window. The text within the quotation marks will be the button caption. So anything you put in quotations like this occurs as the caption on the actual button itself. The third item is the OK clicked branch label. That's this square bracket area here. This tells Liberty Basic to perform a go to OK clicked when the button is clicked on. In other words, when the button is clicked, it's looking for the branch label OK clicked. And I'm going to flip over to Liberty Basic here, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, so when the button is clicked, then it goes to this area right here, OK click. It's a go to. And you'll notice that what it does is it produces a notice, which is the dialog box, and then you clicked on OK. So it's a way of telling the program what do you want to do when the button is clicked. That's what goes right here. It tells it where to go in your code. In this case, the notice statement caused the dialog box to appear that displays you clicked on OK. Once you clear the dialog box, the window will be closed and the program will end. Why does it end? Because after I do the notice, then it goes to quit. I could put another wait in here. I could put something. All right, so as I was saying, after this notice right here, it goes into the quit and it closes this window. I could put another wait here, or I could do something else if I wanted. The fourth item, UL, tells Liberty Basic that the button will be positioned relative to the upper left-hand corner of the window. There are also upper right, lower left, and lower right, if you like, but upper left is probably the easiest. The first number is the X, so 15 over, 15 down. That's what this 15, 15 is. One option is to specify the exact width and height of the button. Liberty Basic automatically chooses the size of the button if you don't specify it. You can change it if you want. If you want to make it 75 wide and 50 pixels high, you can change that by placing that last bit of code into that line. But for the most part, the button sizes are the correct size, so you really don't need to worry about it too much. However, the wait statement is extremely important. Liberty Basic will react to user actions performed on buttons or other controls when a running program is stopped at a wait statement. You could also use scan and input, but we're not going to cover those. Wait basically just waits for you to do something. Scan is a quick check. Did you do something? And if you didn't, then carry on with the program. So wait's pretty important. Let me just show you here in the program. So I set up my button, I open the window, and then I wait. And if I don't wait, then what's it going to do? It's going to automatically filter. Right, if I take that out, it's going to filter right down into the OK click area. So when I run this, okay, you'll notice that it says I clicked on OK, even though I haven't actually clicked on the button. You don't want that. You need the wait back in there. Okay, so waits are very important. Okay, so practice number one, I'd like you to use the code that you just typed in to open up a window, call it hash yes or no, that's twice as wide and tall as before. I'd like you to put the window in the bottom right-hand corner somewhere. I'd like you to put the window in the bottom right-hand corner somewhere. I'd like you to place two buttons in it, one that says yes and one that says no. And when the button is clicked, use notice to send a message. Either yes was clicked or no was clicked. And your window should look kind of like this. So you need a second button, and you need two go-to areas depending on which button you've actually clicked on. So take a few minutes and try that, and then we'll move on to the hand-in assignment. Okay, here's the answer to that if you want. I've set up my window. I've got two buttons right here, button yes or no dot yes and button yes or no dot no. So I've got two buttons. They go to different areas. I've got yes clicked and no clicked. Here I used the upper left and the upper right features, and I didn't have to change my dimensions. I open the window and I wait. If yes is clicked, it goes to here. And I do a notice that I clicked on yes, and if no is clicked, it goes to here, and I give a notice that I clicked on no. You'll notice that here, after the yes is clicked, after I do the notice, I go to the waiting area, just a way of having this set up. So I go to here and I wait. I could have also typed in here, I could have just had a wait as well. And actually, some people would probably prefer that type of system as opposed to a waiting area. So it's really sort of personal preference. Up to you here. I'm having some difficulty with indentation. Okay, but the wait here is important. If you don't do the wait after the yes, it's going to bleed into the no clicked area, and you don't want that. Make sure you close your window, close hash yes or no. Okay, so I'll give you a minute or so if you need to change that up. I'd suggest you hit pause, and then we'll have a look at the hand-in assignment. Okay, so hand-in, it says hand-in 2. That's because it's lesson 2. There was no hand-in 1 for this unit. I'd like you to write a code that produces two windows each with two buttons. One window is labeled player 1, the other one is labeled player 2, and each window has a yes or no button. So basically what you just did, except 2 times 2. When clicked, an appropriate notice is given, and you must stop the program manually. We'll get into the stopping things in the next couple lessons. So you've got player 1 yes, player 1 no, player 2 yes, player 2 no, and an appropriate notice is given. There should be 4 different go-tos in your program. You can go ahead and hand that in on Schoology when you're done.